my dear brothers and sisters. Welcome to this stream. I'm very happy to welcome you from wherever you're watching me. I am very happy to welcome you to this stream. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. We are live in both of my channels. And, I want to talk about some of the things that are, being discussed in our country. And, sometimes, to be honest, of course, Kenyans love politics. Kenyans love politics. You cannot separate Kenyans and politics. It's like separating twins. Kenyans really love politics, and of course, what better thing to add to the political, in the pot to any mix. Now Ebola is at the center of our discussion, and now which begs the question: was there enough public participation? Was there public participation? And if you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. And if you're new in this stream, I want to welcome you to our channel and tell me where you're watching me from. Any questions up to there? It is 2nd of June 2026, and we'll continue reading the scripture. Any questions? I'm very happy to welcome you this morning. And you see, the first question, I was listening to Kenyans. They were asking, if cholera is a problem, in Kenya. Right now, cholera is a problem. If tuberculosis is a problem, there's so many problems in Kenya. Now, more than ever, we are adding another problem on top of problem. We are adding another problem on top. It's like deni juu ya deni. In Kiswahili, it is called deni juu ya deni. We have added another problem, or we are in the process of adding another problem to our problem. We are so generous, in Kenya. Apparently, we are very generous. We have graciously accepted to host, Ebola. We have graciously, accepted Ebola in our country. And I want to, maybe I'm the one who is not conversant. Welcome, my dear brothers, to this channel. Welcome to the Chariots of Fire, and welcome to my live channel. So I wanted to know, maybe I'm the one who is not informed. But I want somebody to explain to me why we need Ebola in Kenya. For example, if you are writing a composition, can you write why we need Ebola in Kenya? And I was listening to many discussions, also, and I've been following the reactions of people around Kenya and their sentiments surrounding, this particular issue, because this is an issue of public safety, is an issue of public interest, and it is an issue of the Constitution, because, ladies and gentlemen, also the Constitution is there to protect the lives of Kenyans. So we are asking the question, was there violation? Not even violation, was there gross violation of the Constitution? Was there gross violation of the Constitution? Was there public participation in this issue of Ebola? All right. Was there public participation? Where you are staying, did people come to ask you whether we need Ebola in our country? Did anybody ask you? And if you feel, I think Ebola, as we are told, I was listening to one politician from Laikipia, and she was saying that William Ruto doesn't like Kikuyus. That is why he procured Ebola to them. It's a way of finishing Kikuyus. Apparently the Kikuyu are many. So the only way to reduce their number is by introducing Ebola in Kenya. I was listening right now to some of these people say that this is a plan of 2027 to win, and they want to use Ebola as as an arsenal. And I told you Arsenal fans, they say that Ebola is now an arsenal, and I always tell people about Arsenal fans. They really punish us. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been trying to write an essay why we need Ebola. I've thought about it, and then I came to realize what was the motivator. Why is it that this issue is being, why is it that Ebola is now packaged in a way? And then I realized that there is money. There is money. 1.7 billion. Oh, there is money in the deal to sweeten the deal. For the first time in the history of mankind, Ebola has been sweetened. I have never seen this. Ebola has been sweetened and packaged and taken to the airport. For the first time, ladies and gentlemen, we will become victims of we are now willful. We are victims of circumstances. Very soon, my dear brothers and sisters, we will become victims of circumstances. And I was trying to think about this issue of Ebola. Is it true that tribalism is playing a role in this story? Is there something that I don't understand? Or is it because there are so many people in Laikipia and Nanyuki and, they really don't want these people to vote next year? If I was asking myself right now, like Kenya today, if small issues affect us, in Kenya, a small disease can put you in a very bad place, like cholera or diarrhea. In fact, in Kenya, if there's something I fear, ladies and gentlemen, is diarrhea or dysentery. Because dysentery in Kenya can kill you. Dysentery can kill you. If something, in fact, I fear dysentery so much that I don't even drink water. When I go to other places, I don't drink water. Yes, that is how much I fear dysentery. But now we have brought in a new disease, as if the diseases that we have are in our control. Please, ladies and gentlemen, why are we always looking for an excuse to fight? Why are we always looking for an excuse? Because I think this is an excuse to go to the streets and fight. I think, ladies and gentlemen, we have spent a lot of energy fighting this year. We have really fought. We have thrown stones. If only we could channel this energy into other meaningful things. That dream of going to Singapore, we will go there very, very quickly. You see, the deal is to take Kenya to become like Singapore. But when will we get to Singapore, the League of Malaysia, if every day we wake up to go to the streets? Any questions up to there? Every day we find an excuse to throw stones. When will we ever achieve Vision 2030? And also the question is, who will be there in Vision 2030 if right now we are importing Ebola? Who will be there to enjoy Vision 2030? If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment and tell me where you're watching me from. I'm very happy this morning to be here. If you're new to this channel, be part and parcel of our streams. And I was just watching the stream, the CCTV footage of the girls of Utumishi Academy. How they were planning on how to burn the dormitories. I even saw a lady with a jerry can going to full of oil. They procured 15 liters of kerosene. 15 liters of kerosene. So that their plan doesn't go wrong. Surely, my dear brothers and sisters, we are in a very bad place. And if you think that we are doing well as a country, then I want to tell you for free that we are not. We are not doing well as a country. And it is not a question of whether I like His Excellency or not. No, it is not that issue. I have nothing against anybody. I just call it the way it is. We are really in a bad place. We are between a rock and a hard place. That is where we are as a country. And just to think about it, that somebody will pocket 1.7 billion or has already pocketed 1.7 billion in this Ebola sweet deal. Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, we are caught in our own devices. I like that. We are caught in our own devices. That's what the Bible says. We are caught in our own devices. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I know people love money, but you are selling you are selling a lot. The things, I don't know whether I'm the only one or I think this is very sad. This is very sad. And I'm not provoking anybody to go to the streets. But sometimes when I think about it, I lose sleep. You cannot even sleep, can you? Even right now, as I'm speaking right now, students in all the secondary schools in Kenya, they're not sleeping. They're sleeping with one eye like this up to morning. That is the reality of what is happening in Kenya. Nobody is sleeping. All these students from Form 1 to Form 4, they are awake. You can imagine that is how serious it is in our country. I was talking to another student, he came to the hospital. That student was telling me right now, they're all scared. They don't sleep. You can imagine. They're all awake. Not willingly. So when will our students rest? When will they actually, perform well in school? How can a child perform well in school once they know? You see now, what has happened is that there's one thing that has happened, that is happening in Kenya, unbeknownst to our government. There's a seed of suspicion. Everybody is suspecting the other. The reason why Kenyans are going to the streets to protest Ebola is not because they just don't believe anything. Even if you say today that Kenya is acting in good faith, nobody will believe you. Even a class 1 dropout will not believe you that Kenya is acting in good faith, because that is what they're trying to tell us, that we are acting in good faith. We are acting we are acting, we are compliant. That is the word. We are acting in good faith. That some of these laws were ratified in international conventions. That is what you are trying to tell us. Yes, we are just we don't want to breach the contract. We don't want to breach the agreement between Kenya and the United States. Yes, we are faithful. We are faithful. But let me tell you for free that also these Americans are faithful, but they are not faithful to us. They are faithful to themselves. That is why they have stated clearly and explicitly, without even hiding or without even making any effort to hide, that no American with Ebola is allowed to step in America. They have made it clear explicitly. They have explained it explicitly. You see, in this deal, Americans are only faithful to themselves, not to anybody else. And because, ladies and gentlemen, we are faithful to the contract, and of course we signed a bilateral agreement between Kenya and America that in the event of any pandemic or any disaster, Kenya, since we are very generous, we are a very generous country, we are generous to our neighbors until we forget ourselves. Have you ever seen somebody who's so generous? You're like the man, it is raining, and you remove your sweater and give another person and say, it is raining, but because I am born again, I love Jesus, please take my sweater and let me hang out in the cold, since I love Jesus. Just take my sweater, it's okay, it's okay. Even if I catch pneumonia, I'll be healed in Jesus' name. Ladies and gentlemen, that kind of reasoning will endanger us one day. That kind of reasoning is what will endanger our country, And I'm asking myself, there are so many problems in Kenya. And these problems, we have not been able to even cover, even solve 10% of the problems, Now we want to add another problem on top of another problem. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to say I'm supporting the protests. I don't want to say that. But surely what is happening in our country, or let me put it this way. If you're okay with what is happening in our country and you don't feel any pinch, in fact, you're just eating ugali as normal, you're sleeping as normal, you have no problem, everything is good, you're even gaining weight. Your only problem is maybe you're gaining weight. If you are like that, you don't see past your problems, or maybe you have a problem because maybe DSTV, the subscription is over, maybe you have a problem, I don't know. Maybe your child is not given bacon in that international school that you have taken your child. I went somewhere and the parent, we went to a parents meeting. I was invited, and this parent stood up and said, I have an issue with this school. And then the parent was asked, what is your issue? He said, why is my child not given bacon during break time? And if you are that kind of an individual, there are so many, I know. There are many individuals who, their problems, they have good problems. If you're that kind of individual and you're good and there's nothing bothering you, if you're that kind of a citizen, there are so many Kenyans. There are different types of Kenyans. If you are good with Ebola, maybe I think I'm the one with the problem. I will say this, let me take responsibility. I'm the one who has a problem. Maybe you guys are good. I'm the one who is disturbed. Maybe my brain is not is just maybe I'm the one with the problem, because it seems that you guys are okay with the Ebola, and I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. If you see if you watch that CCTV of Utumishi girls, and you see these girls, planning in advance, they're advising each other, they're planning, they're advising, they have a mkutano, group think. They're even discussing how to go about burning a dormitory in advance. They're discussing in advance. They wake up very early before others. Even each person, they have planned to not wear their slippers, to walk with the slippers in the hand. To if you've been watching that, that clip, and you're sleeping well, you have no problem. I think you are doing well. If that is not disturbing you, if you feel that the future of this country is safe, everybody is safe, maybe I'm the one with the problem. In fact, I think I'm the one with the problem, not you. You guys are good. But as we know, or you're just a consumer of news, nowadays the problem with Kenyans, we are now consumers. It's called consumer mentality. You're just consuming news, and as long as it's news, doesn't affect you, it's good. It's all good. We are becoming consumers of news. If you are like that and you don't feel harassed, my friend was texting me, told me, KRA, I've been, calling him. And I said, Kenyans, they're all scared. You're scared of cancer. You're scared of HIV. You're even scared of KRA. You're scared of everything. Oh my goodness. You're scared of Al-Shabaab. Let me tell you the things that scare Kenyans. Like you're scared of KRA, you're scared of cancer, you're scared of HIV, you're scared of so many things, And now we have Ebola on top of the list. You're not happy with the fuel prices. You're not happy with the commodities. You're not. You see, I don't know. Maybe I'm the one who is. Any questions up there? Feel free to subscribe and comment. And I'm very happy to be here. Any questions up there? Any questions up there? So right now, it is 4:20 Kenyan time, and I want to say this for free that, right now, tomorrow is going to be a very difficult day for us because, as we speak, in just a few hours, Kenyans will go to the streets again. Because, here in town, I'm sure people will go to the streets to protest about Ebola, you know. But, Kikuyus, they have been spiced up. No, sorry, they have been, triggered by the fact that they believe. You see, that's the funniest part. Kikuyus believe that this is a plot because William Ruto does not like Kikuyus. So Ebola is like a gift. You have been gifted Ebola. So because that is what they believe. That's why they are really fighting the system. But maybe that is just me. Any questions up to there? Feel free to subscribe and comment and tell me where you're watching me from. Did you subscribe to the channel? Did you subscribe? Did you subscribe to the channel? Now it's just I know now we have a problem because we are in subscriber 666. We are in subscriber 666. So kindly, I want two people to subscribe at the same time. I don't want you to be subscriber 666. Any questions up to there? Any questions? So you can imagine, Ebola will come and kill more people. You see, this is the funniest thing. We are rejecting Ebola. So the fact of rejecting Ebola will kill more people than Ebola itself. Because by the time we come to agree that we don't want Ebola in Kenya, people will have died already. I don't know whether you understand that the fact that the rejection of Ebola, that we're going to the streets to reject Ebola, will kill more people than Ebola itself. Any questions? If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment and tell me where you're watching me from. Are you happy to be here? Very happy to be. I'll be here for just 1 hour and to talk about the issues that are affecting Kenyans. The issues. Nowadays. But anyway, maybe I think. Do you think we are close to? Are we have we gained Uhuru, or it's not yet Uhuru? Have we risen above the problems of our forefathers, or are we, are we becoming worse? What do you think? When you see students waking up in the middle of the night, planning on how to burn the dome, procuring 15 liters of kerosene, they don't want to buy books, but they all gave money to buy kerosene. You can imagine a whole jerrycan of kerosene. I was watching that girl. I was like, really? And she used a lot of energy to carry that kerosene. But there's nobody who will even contribute towards buying a book. Have we really gained Uhuru? Have we gained Uhuru, or are we disintegrating every day? Huh? Have we gained? Are we becoming? Are we becoming stronger, or are we regressing and fading every day? Is this country becoming better, or are we becoming worse and worse? Are we becoming better? If you ask yourself, have we gained Uhuru that we is Uhuru a reality in our lives, or is it far-fetched? Is it far-fetched? Do you feel that Kenyans have attained Uhuru? Do you feel in your hearts of hearts? And this is a rhetorical question which you just have to ask yourself. And you don't have to answer me. You'll answer yourself. Do you think that we are, going to Are we becoming a better nation, or are we just becoming worse and worse every single day? Any questions up to there? Feel free to subscribe and comment. Are you proud to be? And let me tell you something, my dear brothers and sisters, is that one thing is that we are not going to import other Kenyans. That is the worst part. We are not going to import leaders. That is the funny thing. We're not going to import. You're not going to import. There are things you cannot import. We cannot import good brains. That is the worst part. We cannot have brain transplant. We cannot import brains as a country. So I'm wondering if we are becoming worse and worse. Where will we go if everybody becomes a madman? I want you to ask yourself that question. Do you think we are gaining what our forefathers had the vision? Are we going in that direction, or is this becoming a country of mad people? Because everywhere I go nowadays, I always tell people, I just meet mad men and mad women. Everybody is mad. Are we becoming a country of mad people? Is it? I saw somewhere Madare Hospital is trending, and I was asking myself, are Kenyans, disintegrating day by day? Are Kenyans losing their minds without even them noticing? That is the question that, that is the question that is happening, in our country. I remember I met a man, and this man held his key of his car in his hand, and he was asking me, have you seen my car keys? And he had his keys in his hand. I do have keys here. He had keys in his hands, and he was asking me, Raymond, have you seen my car keys? And he had his car keys in his hand. Every day I meet men and women who are just talking to themselves. They're just on the jam, going to work like this. Everybody's like this. Like, are we like, are we living like that episode of Survival Africa? Is survival becoming our goal? The thing is, in Kenya, you're told to survive, just survive. Are we really becoming survivors? Or sometimes we're becoming survivors. And one of the things about survivors is that they become disinterested in the issues that are affecting Kenyans. That is called, you are now in survivor mode. Being in survivor mode doesn't take the issues away, my dear brothers and sisters. Say, I just don't want full of politics. I just don't want. You want that business of, fighting for this country. You have given that business. You have, outsourced that tender. I call it the tender. You have given us the tender of, asking the questions, fighting for our country. There are people who are equally good, who are equally, they can argue their case, they can defend the weak, but they have decided to outsource the tender to some of us. I don't like this tender. Everything is like a tender. I don't like this tender. Let me give this tender to Raymond Mutuku. Maybe. So we have taken the tender, because it's a tender. You want to go and talk about the issues that are affecting Kenyans, genuine issues, genuine issues. Now, another question concerning drugs. If right now there are no drugs, and those in our hospitals are actively stealing drugs, how will we manage Ebola? If people are stealing drugs in our hospital, that's another issue. Even if you equip our hospitals with Ebola drugs, they will be stolen. Now I'm asking my brothers and sisters, if our hospitals are being sabotaged at the moment, if we are being sabotaged, people are stealing drugs, people are, like, I knew a person who was in a hospital, but they have their own private pharmacy. How will we be able to manage Ebola if we don't have enough oxygen in our hospitals right now as we speak? How will we manage Ebola? Those oxygen is very expensive. Oxygen is very expensive. How will we manage Ebola? Now, if we have very bed capacity in our hospitals, that's an issue. How will we manage Ebola? Surely, for the love of God, Ebola is not something. I don't know whether you see, the people who accept Ebola are living in luxury. They're living in big houses. The people who have accepted Ebola, they know they have accepted Ebola because they are sure Ebola will not get to them. They will keep away from Ebola as far as possible. You can imagine if there's an outbreak of Ebola in Kibera. Just imagine. I want you to put yourself, I want us to think together. Let's reason together. If there's an outbreak of Ebola in Mukuru Kwanjenga, what will happen? Do you think these people even have, what it takes? There's so many places that are there's so many places that are cramped up. Like there's this slum in Parklands called Deep Sea. There's a slum in Parklands called Deep Sea. Even at this, that is the slum near to town is in High Ridge, in a place called Deep Sea. Calculate the distance from Deep Sea to the CBD. It's less than 20 minutes walk from Deep Sea. That is I think that is the nearest slum to the CBD. All right, it is found in on when you go to Aga Khan Hospital and then you go up to, I think, 3rd Parklands Avenue. There's a slum there. Imagine an outbreak of Ebola in the slum. And the funny thing about Nairobi is that a rich residential area is next to a slum, because these slum dwellers service the rich. So you can imagine an outbreak of Ebola in Mukuru Kwanjenga, because you see, if there's an outbreak of Ebola in Mukuru Kwanjenga, also people who live in Golden Gate Estate, people who live in Riverbank Estate, people who live in where? Hapa chini, Kariba Estate, people who live in Hazina Estate, people in South Sea, that thing will spread very quickly. And maybe the origin is in Mukuru Kwanjenga. Think about it. What if Ebola creeps its way into schools? The way children like sharing, utensils, the ways our kids like sharing ice, they like sharing. Kids are kids, You cannot stop kids from sharing. If a kid has a mango, the other kid doesn't have mango. So this one will have to share with that one. That is life in Kenya, The way kids like eating without washing their hands. I want you to think about our public schools. What if this thing goes and, you see, we cannot control it? What if that happens? Will we start now holding another national prayer? Will we start saying that, oh, we need to pray for our country, Kenya? If I'm wrong, feel free to ask me, Raymond, you're taking Ebola's issue too far. We will not die. And that is the kind of complacency that we are assuming that Ebola is coming from Congo, the hot spot of Ebola in the world. So it means that if we get Ebola, we're going to get ile moto. So I'm wondering, Sasa, any questions up to there? If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment, and tell me where you're watching me from. Any questions? Any questions? If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. Any questions? Any questions up there? I'll be here for just 1 hour and then I'll be on my way. Any questions? And if you're new to this channel, I'll be here just for 1 hour because I know tomorrow is going to be a very, very a day where we'll be running all over. Any questions? You can ask me your questions as we continue to discuss. Are you happy to be here? Are you happy to be here? Do you enjoy our channel? If you do enjoy our channel, let me know. And I'm just about to leave, so yeah, you can ask me your questions while I'm here. Any questions? Any questions? You have any questions before I leave? So that is the question that I'm just asking myself. Like, are we ready for it? Or will we now start another season of, okay. Any questions before I leave? I'm so tired. Any questions? Hallelujah. Any questions? Any questions? And also these people who claim that they can heal diseases, please, please, please stop claiming that you can heal Ebola. No. Because I know that people want to eat. Do you see the issue of this Ebola? It will make some people rich. There are people who will start selling bogus products. We're even healing Ebola. So there are people, when they hear there's a new pandemic, they know that is money. I want to read Jeremiah chapter 12, verses 5. If you have raced with men on foot and they have worn you out, how can you compete with horses? How can you compete with horses? If that is the verse. If malaria is wearing us out, HIV is wearing us out, small problems like measles, chickenpox, they are wearing these countries out. Tuberculosis is wearing us out. What about a disease that is riding on a horse, like Ebola? If tuberculosis is a problem, is wearing this country out, is draining our resources, HIV is also draining our resources, how will we manage a disease that is riding on a horse? Sometimes let's be honest. Let's be honest. If malnutrition is a problem, people are not even eating 3 meals a day in Kenya. How will we manage? If the simple issues, and just to go about it with SHA, because I know SHA. Now, even if I was to meet the president, I would ask him, will SHA pay for Ebola? That is the only question I'll ask the president. To be honest, okay, you talk about SHA. I just want to know one thing. Will SHA? That is the only question I want to know. Will SHA pay for Ebola? Also, now I want us to ask each other questions. Will SHA also cover for Ebola victims? For those who, I'm not against anybody, I'm just saying, for those who are supporting the importation of Ebola in our country, will SHA cover for it? And those people who will die from Ebola and they have, life policies, will those insurance companies pay their life policies? Maybe if you have an insurance cover, a life policy of maybe 10 million shillings, will the insurance pay the beneficiaries that 10 million shillings? Because some people have a huge life policy. You have a life policy of 20 million. So if you get Ebola, will your family be paid 20 million? So what about this insurance people who are offering medical insurance? Have they really subscribed to the idea that in case a Kenyan gets Ebola, that they will pay life insurance to them? I'm just asking questions. And another question that I want to know, the families, the victims of the family of this place in Utumishi, how much money will they be compensated for the loss of their children? How much money will each family get? There are 16 families. And what is the cost? And I also want to ask, what is the cost of a life in Kenya? Because if you read your history, you realize that when that school is just here, when Changuli Secondary School, they banned the dormitories, the government of Kenya paid 54 million shillings to each family for the loss of their children. Do you know how long it took? It took from the year 2001, the families came to receive, that payout in 2019. It took 19 years for those families to be compensated for the death of their children. So that is the question I also want to know. Like these families that have lost their loved ones, what is the assurance? How much money will each family get? And what is the value of life in Kenya? Each child, how much money will each child get? Like these families that are grieving as we speak. Each child, atalipa pesa ngapi? And don't tell me 800,000. No. And don't tell me 5 million. No. If you ask me how much each family should be paid, they should be paid 10 million each. 10 million each. Is that the cost of life? Every family, 10 million each for compensation. Because also, we want justice, and we cannot get retributive justice. We are going to get restorative justice. So each family should be paid 10 million shillings. All right. Is that a good deal? So you can imagine that is the issue I was talking about. That is the issue I was talking about. And if you ask yourself, will insurance companies pay for life? And they see clearly the CCTV footage that was released. Which insurance company will pay for that kind of damage seeing very well that the children are burning the dormitory. It was not an issue, it was not an accident. They see very clearly that this was a bunch of indisciplined students, which I just want to ask those questions because these are questions that are playing in my mind. Like, which insurance company is going to pay when they can see very clearly in the CCTV footage that these children, these minors, number one, procured kerosene, 15 liters, 20 liters of kerosene. They planned, they assisted each other with ideas on how to burn the dormitory. They did not even make an effort to hide their faces. I want to ask you guys, which insurance company will pay that kind of, kind of claim? They will say that this was willful ignorance on the part of the school. Willful ignorance. Do you know the meaning of willful ignorance? They will say that these students, that is called conscientious stupidity. That is willful ignorance can be described as deliberate, intentional of avoidance of relevant information. You are avoiding, things that might look uncomfortable to you. You don't want to address. Whose responsibility was it to address those issues of banning of schools? Was it, whose responsibility was it? Of course, any insurance company will say it was the responsibility of the school administration to, number one, address the issues of morality, to address the issues of psychology. And if the students were depressed, it was the duty. The ones who had the duty of care is the school administration. They were the ones who were given that responsibility to teach their students best practices. So which insurance company will pay? Because I know for free, and I'll tell you I will tell you this explicitly, that insurance companies will try to not pay, because they will say that it is the responsibility of the school administration to teach their children, the law and things that are not acceptable in the society. Are we together? So now, since we have already addressed that, I'm asking you another question. So who will compensate the parents? Who will take responsibility of compensating the parents? Because as we speak right now, these parents have lost their children. So whose responsibility is it? That is the question that I'll be asking you guys. And yes, of course, the government will end up, will be the fall guys. And if the government becomes the fall guys, how much money are we talking about? These are questions that, and also before I even finish, on the issue of how much money will each parent be compensated for the loss of their children, another question I'll be asking is, how long will it take? Because this issue of compensation, how long will it take? Will the parents of these children wait for another 10 years or 20 years for the government to process, because when Changuli, happened in 2001, it happened on the 25th of March, 2001, all right? During the time of President Daniel Arap Moi. Now, compensation happened on the second term of His Excellency the President, Uhuru Kenyatta, a whole 18 years was in that justice, that was justice denied. Number three, I want to ask you another question. For those students who appeared in the CCTV footage, they can claim that the CCTV footage was not clear enough to recognize their faces. So they can say that the CCTV footage is not reliable and that evidence should not be admissible in a court of law, because clearly that camera, it was dark, so the CCTV footage could not see them clearly. So here, I was listening to some of these guys, and I say what we are having is a miscarriage of justice. Once again, there will be a miscarriage of justice, because now you cannot say, and I'm not being the bad guy here, but I'm just trying to say these students can argue and say that that was not me, because number one, the camera was not clear. Yes, they will say the camera was not clear, and that kind of evidence, the court cannot, it's not admissible in a court of law. In fact, these perpetrators of Utumishi Academy, they're going to win this case by procedural technicality and argue that that evidence was not, that video was shot in the dark, so it was not even clear, and that evidence should not be admissible in a court of law. Because if the video itself was not clear, that is why up to now their names, in fact, there is no media house that is supposed to publish the names of the perpetrators, because they are still innocent until proven guilty, and the threshold of that evidence should be above reasonable doubt. So when you tell me that there's CCTV footage, yet that footage is not clear, it's just blurry, it's not clear. Can you identify any student there as a Kenyan? Unless now you're because you see they're seen running. And even a student can say, I was not part of the planning because there was no audio. Was there audio file? I'm just asking us questions. Was there audio file in that CCTV footage? Were they heard planning? Were they heard? Did anyone hear them planning? Yes, maybe they met, but was there an audio file that they were actually planning? Is there evidence to prove that they were planning to? Because here you are saying these students, they did what? They willfully, they were all accomplices to burning the dormitory. But I'm asking you, is there evidence that they were heard planning? Was there? You realize there's no evidence of them planning. Number one, there's no evidence. Is there any evidence? Like the way I'm talking, that is audio file. There's evidence. But I'm asking my dear brothers and sisters, was there evidence that they were hard planning to burn the dormitory? You realize there's no evidence. Now, when you are saying that they went to Cube 11 and all of a sudden the fire broke out, I'm asking my fellow Kenyans, did anyone see them literally starting the fire? Was there evidence? Because the CCTV footage could not cover Cube 11. Was there evidence? When you think critically and ask yourself the most important questions, you realize later on that, ladies and gentlemen, there will be miscarriage of justice. That is why these kids are not even supposed to be arraigned. Yes, and their faces should be covered, because it has not been established that they were the perpetrators. It's not yet established. Is it established? But the video was dark. It's not clear. You see, the video is not clear. And that is the fact. The video was not clear. You just see girls walking around. But was there clear evidence? Number 3. Was there fingerprints? You see, that's when you realize, and if you look at it from any angle, you realize you cannot pin this arson attack to one person. This is a group of 10 girls. Who will you blame? Who will you blame? I'm just asking you. That's why I'm telling you guys, there will be a miscarriage of justice. Because when you look at it from any angle, you realize that you're not going to blame one person for the attack. You're not to blame one. Who? Okay, if they were to blame somebody, who will they blame? I'm asking you questions. Will they blame the first girl they saw in the video? Or will they blame the last girl in the video? So, if you look at it from all the angles, you realize that these girls, and I will surprise you, they will go scot-free. These girls of Utumishi, I will surprise you guys, they will go scot-free. Do you know why? Because you cannot blame the arson attack to one girl. There is no main suspect. Is there a main suspect? Is there a main suspect? Who will you blame? Will you blame the first girl in the video, or the middle girl in the video, or the third girl in the video? Who will you blame? That is the question I want to ask Kenyans. And if you are investigating any questions up to there? And if you go to the cases that all right. Okay, here let's read the letter of the DCI. They say further analysis of the CCTV footage conducted in collaboration with the teachers has enabled the investigation team to confirm the identity of the 7 students who participated in the arson before escaping the scene. Good. Of the 8 suspects previously arrested, 6 have been positively identified and confirmed through the footage. The 7th identified student was among those earlier released to their parents and is currently not in custody. Now, I want to ask the question, the people who are doing the investigation, our investigators, I want to ask you, why have you not arraigned them? Why have you not, publicly released their photos? Can I surprise you? It's because you cannot say if the video is dark. The video is dark. If the video is dark, the video is dark. You cannot say we have positively identified. No. You cannot take that evidence to a court of law because the video was dark. Which court of law will positively say that this is, you see, this video has light? So I want to ask you, ladies and that's why I'm telling you there will be a miscarriage of justice. Because, ladies and gentlemen, those girls can be positively identified by the teachers, but they cannot be positively identified by any other person in the courtroom. The teachers can say this is so and so, she looks like so and so. But another person who is not, that is why that evidence is not admissible in a court of law. Are we together? Arrivederci.